What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So today's video is going to be a little bit different. Instead of working on any of the Miatas here or the engine I got ready to drop in the NB, I'm still waiting on a couple of gaskets for this, and I thought I'd hold off on a couple things so I can do it all at once, kind of make it a bigger video for you guys. I got a new ECU, I got to do the crank seal, I want to pull the valve cover off, so checked out the inside of that, do the exhaust gasket, a couple things on that, just so I can get it all back together, get all the accessories back on there, and get it ready to drop into this car. So that'll be kind of the next video going on the NB. So in the meantime, I thought I'd start working on my mini bike here. Built this about 2 months ago. I picked the frame up of Facebook Marketplace from a kid. He stretched it 12 inches down here, kind of added in a couple bars. I got it just a frame with just the rims, added some tires, added the motor, added a couple other things to fix it, like the chain, did all the other handlebar stuff, like adding the brake, throttle, grips, and all that. And it's pretty good cruiser. It goes about 30 to 40, kind of depends on how much you want to push it. But since it is stretched, it ended up dropping the whole middle of the frame down here about 1.5 inches off the ground. So it looks cool since I like my slam stuff. It kind of matches, but at the same time it's pretty useless because you're always worried about scratching your foot or the foot peg on the ground, or even hitting the bar on the ground there. And especially going off-roading, if it's smooth it's good, but one single true root will hit this bar right there and stop the whole bike, and then there you go, you're dragging it out. So I came up with the idea of getting some bigger tires for this thing, and when I was looking, came across these bad boys. These are 15 by 6 by 6. I think they're the biggest tires you can get for a 6-inch rim for a mini bike, at least what I can find on Amazon. So I bought those bad boys and decided to turn this bike into kind of like a drag sand off-road bike. And I thought it'd be pretty neat since every time you take it off-road, those slicks just spin because they don't get any traction, especially with no tread on there. And at the same time, it'll kind of jack up the bike a little bit, give me a little bit more clearance down there so I can actually take it off-roading and have a little bit more fun with it. Add a couple fenders right there and on the back too. Maybe add like a plate down here, kind of help protect the motor from getting any dirt inside of it. And it should be pretty simple. And since I'm going to be tearing down half the bike anyways, just to put the tires on, since I got to take the rims off on the front and back, might as well tear it all down and get ready for paint. Since I already have the paint sitting here waiting for it, I'm going to do a black frame with some silver wheels. I'm thinking the black and silver should look pretty good on this thing. I already started test painting the handlebars here because these things were pretty beat as they were. So got the nice gloss black on there. I even kind of sanded down some of these brackets here so they're kind of more of like a brushed steel, and clear coated them. So it kind of looks pretty good. I'm thinking about doing that throughout the whole bike, maybe polishing up a couple things, or like brushing up a couple things on the motor so it kind of matches those pieces there, clear coat it, make sure it lasts. Do need to fix a couple things, like I know the seat's missing a bolt there, so need to add a little bracket in there. I do want to fix the chain tensioner because the chain tensioner, it works, but it doesn't hold the chain as tight as I would want. I want it just a little bit tighter because it does slack around a little bit when you're driving, especially how long it is. So it should be pretty simple just to tear it down. I don't think you guys really want to watch me tearing it down, maybe putting it back together just so you guys can see how easy these things go back together and come apart. I could probably have this thing torn apart in like an hour, so I'll probably just time lapse it and kind of go through it. And throughout the process, I'm probably going to be talking about most of the plans I got going for it, and maybe start working on a few things. Like I got some metal there, maybe start building up the plate, or like getting an idea of how the fenders are going to look. I was even thinking about building up a little plate here so I can have a little tachometer, maybe a couple switches for like some lights if I ever get some in the future, and maybe even like running up a snorkel. I got a few ideas for this thing, and I kind of want to make sure it's stout, especially when I want to go take it out off-roading. I don't want to get stranded anywhere in the woods. So let's start by tearing this thing down. So as you guys just saw, got the mini bike all stripped down, got it about 95% of the way where I need it. Got this completely bare, so that's pretty much ready to start getting sanded, wire wheeled, maybe adding a couple of bars. I was thinking about maybe adding a bar in between here, kind of give it a little bit more support, and then kind of give me an extra point to mount the tensioner. I do still need to pull off the brake disc and the sprocket on this wheel so I can get it ready to start mounting up those tires. But I actually was comparing how these look, and they're going to be a hell of a lot bigger. So they look about 1.5 inches taller, maybe an inch all the way around. So exactly what I was looking for, kind of help raise up the bike a bit. Luckily painted up the handlebars, so I was able to leave both the cables on there and the wiring, so that can just get set off to the side until it's ready to get bolted all back on. But it's getting a little bit later now. I'm thinking about getting the tires all mounted up first, and then once those are mounted, I can at least start test fitting them on the frame and see how it's gonna actually fit in here, and then I can start getting that metal and start building up some fenders, and maybe start building this plate here on the bottom. I do want to build this plate from here all the way down the bottom and pretty much back as close as I can to the tire, but give it a little bit of room just in case anything gets in there. Don't have to worry about it getting all caught up or anything. But yeah, so we're gonna scoot over till tomorrow since it's getting a little bit late now. Don't really feel like doing these tires at 9 o'clock at night, so let's scoot till tomorrow, get these tires all mounted up, and we can start test fitting it. So I spent some time getting the slicks off the rims and getting the new tires all mounted up. Everything went pretty smooth. Got them all test fitted up on the frame. Everything's all looking pretty good. I'm really digging how these tires look. Probably about the biggest tire I can fit on this frame. Picked up the frame here about 2.5 to 3 inches, so stoked on that. And it couldn't fit any better back here with this bar. Super tight, I could barely get my hand in there, so I might have to raise up this bar once I get some fenders going, because it might need some clearance to kind of clear the tire, and in between the fender kind of have a little bit of air clearance just in case anything gets caught up in there. But kind of get a little bit carried away building up the cardboard panels for this part up here and the bottom plate down here. I do need to start building up the chain tensioner, so as you can tell I got the chain all set up on there. I need to get the chain tensioner set up so I can get this all notched out so that can go up and down and won't have any interference problems there. And I kind of slept on the idea of building the fender out of this metal here. I think it's a little bit too thin, it's gonna be a little too floppy, and I was looking on Amazon for 30 or 40 bucks. I can pick up some fenders that'll be a little bit thicker and kind of bolt into the factory spots, so it'd be super easy to mount up. So I ordered some of those. They'll probably be here tomorrow, which is actually when this video is gonna be posted. So I think I'm gonna start working on maybe building up this panel and getting the chain tensioner all fixed up. I kind of have a good idea for what I want to do. I got a 3D printer, so I need to 3D print some bushings real quick so I can actually make sure everything's all spaced out right, and then actually able to droop, go up and down without interfering with any of the poles there. So we're gonna start working on that. So I just spent the last couple hours working on some odds and ends, fixing up a couple things on the bike, while my brackets for the chain tensioner were getting all printed up. So got this little plate up here all cut out. Just took my template here, placed it on the metal, traced around it, cut it out, and kind of trimmed it up to kind of where I would like it. So it's just barely showing the bar on both sides there. And then I kind of just took a hammer and kind of rounded this edge around the bar there. And it's gonna be kind of hard for you guys to tell, but move this seat bracket here down about 1.5 inches just so it can line up with the seat bolt in the front. And then I'm able just to kind of sandwich this piece of metal right in between there, so that'll hold it right there. And then I whipped up a little bracket kind of right in there. It's kind of hard to see, but got that welded in there. And I was gonna run a nut and bolt, but it's kind of hard to get any tools on the back side of that nut there, so I just gonna run a zip tie there for now. Kind of makes it a little bit easy to pull on and off. But this thing's looking real good. Chain tensioner actually came out really good. So I got a couple of little 3D printed brackets. Got this one there, this one here in the middle, just to kind of keep this separated so it's not kind of walking around. And then I got a couple brackets around this wheel here so I'm not grinding up those bearings. So that should be able to pivot on there pretty nice. Then I'll just get a little spring kind of connecting it up just so it's got some tension holding it. So now that I got that done, I'm able to chop out this center piece here, get this all notched out so that I can clear there and have any interference. And I'm thinking I'm gonna need to get some more metal for that bottom plate. I would like to do it all in one piece, but it's gonna be kind of hard to find a big sheet like that. So I'm gonna look around the model, see if I can find something. If not, I'll have to do it in 2 pieces, but one piece would be the goal. But this thing's coming together pretty dang sweet. I'm really stoked with it. And after the bottom plate there on the bottom is all chopped out, test fitted, kind of bolted or mocked up, this thing should be ready to start getting it stripped down, start stripping some of this paint, getting all the rust off of there, and getting it ready for paint.